Okay. Where's like anything? Uh-oh. We might be out there right now. I believe we are. Yep, looks like it.
So actually, it's just its own language. They can't understand each other at all.
Okay. The Ukraine and
Well,
Russia, you
since
mean? We weren't live when
yeah,
we started this conversation.
yeah. So actually, it says right here, technically, Ukrainians can understand Russians most of the time, just because like they're exposed to Russian media, so they
Yeah,
like understand the language.
that
But
that
it's
that, that
not like
tracks.
I would describe it as like Mexicans know English, but they're not like you know what I'm saying. Like we don't understand them because why would we need to fucking know them? We need to know is America, baby. Yeah.
Man, whenever somebody who speaks Spanish calls in at my job, it's like such a deer in the headlights moment because like I don't know what the fuck to do because they don't give us anything to say with to them besides an English statement. And if they don't understand any English, then we're just like going back and forth. They're like, speak of Spanish? And I'm like, call back and press 2. And they're like, no hablo inglés. And I'm like, call back and press 2. And we kind of just have this Cold War until they hang up, is basically how I handle it
You don't know how
now.
to. You don't know the Spanish word for toots.
I know the Spanish word for 2, but I don't know the Spanish words for hang up and press. So the
Yeah, but
two
you can
is two
do.
is not enough.
You just dose,
I've tried
dose,
that. I have
dose.
said dose before. They did not get. They'll press 2 without hanging up because I can't hang up. I can't tell them to hang up. Hi,
You mean you
hoaxing
can't tell them to hang
hacksaurus.
out?
Welcome to the stream. I can't tell them to hang up because they don't understand the words "hang up" coming out of my mouth, and I don't know how to say them in
Oh,
Spanish.
oh, I thought for some reason I was thinking of like some archaic thing, like your fucking call center is like you can never tell a customer to hang up.
No.
All right, that is not good customer service or some dumb shit. Hold on, let me put the fucking chat on my phone. That way I can understand. Let me go ahead and turn my volume off.
I've been watching. Go
So, did
ahead.
did you agree or disagree with Donald Trump today? From what you
Um,
saw, what we know.
I mean, I guess I didn't see enough of it to get the whole context of the argument, but I imagine it was like a general thing about the Ukraine war and foreign aid, or was it something more specific?
So basically, from what I understand, I watched 10 minutes and then I was watching them talk. Right. So the general idea is that the general idea, from what I understand, is that Russia wants a ceasefire and Ukraine wants a ceasefire, but Ukraine only wants a ceasefire if they have certain guarantees. And the
So, such
president
as
is
Russia
like,
not stealing them might be one of those guarantees.
I don't know what the guarantees are, but the point that Donald Trump was making is that you're losing the war, you're weaker than the other people, we're paying for all of it. If they offer you a ceasefire, you take it. And we don't have to keep giving you money. All right. And two, right? What kind of bullshit are you trying to do where you're losing and you want to make demands? You don't get to make demands. You're a loser. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
the other side of that coin, though, is no. We're gonna keep if we can't secure the peace of our nation, we're gonna keep fighting. Like if we can't secure the
Right.
peace of our nation as we define it, we're gonna keep fighting for that vision.
It's fine. It's fine to fight, but the point is so listen, Riley. The point that Donald Trump is making is if I sit there and I say, listen, let's stop fighting each other and let's talk it out. All right? And I'm winning the war. All right? But you go, well, no, we're only going to cease fire if you'll guarantee that you give us our territory back, and you just start listing off fucking demands. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
give us our
No,
fucking
the whole,
territory back that
the
you
whole,
hostilely took
the
over.
whole,
Yeah.
the whole point of the ceasefire though is for us to come to the table and talk these terms out. All right. If I sit there and I go, hey man, let's talk, and you go, fuck you, we're gonna keep fighting. It's bullshit. You're losing. You're a loser. You have no people. Your people are dying.
This is my my crackpot fear of Trump take, but get with my tinfoil hat for a second here. Imagine this scenario, Brad. Could you entertain this possibility even a little bit? Okay, imagine, right? Ceasefire. Signed, agreed upon. Zelensky and Putin start talking. Peace talks are being brokered. And then Russia breaks the ceasefire, and thus Ukraine also breaks the ceasefire. But then it's reported the other way around, and Trump is like, "Well, Ukraine violated the ceasefire, so we have to fight alongside Russia against them because they violated the ceasefire. They're complicating the
There's no way
peace of
we
their
would do that.
nation."
There's no way to do that. The thing that's scary, and the reason why Donald Trump really wants this ceasefire super bad, is because Europe is getting sick of this war. France, Britain, all these countries are like, we're gonna just take our fucking military and we're gonna put it in fucking Ukraine. And when Russia attacks our military, we're gonna count it as war and we're gonna go to war with Russia. All right. So it's fixing to be all of Europe versus Russia, which would be the start of a world war. That what's it called? That's what everybody's worried about, right? So Donald Trump is like, listen, we need a ceasefire, we need to calm the fuck down, we need to fucking chill. Right? But then Ukraine is almost the point that Donald Trump was making is like, we're giving you all this money, and all we want you to do is if they say, hey, let's stop fighting and talk, you stop fighting and talk. All right, I don't feel like that's an unreasonable request. We gave them $350 billion.
No, you're right. You're right. We should definitely try to avoid the start of World War III for sure. I agree upon that, but like, it's hard to just like kind of throw Ukraine to the wolves, which is what this feels like, because they're not going to get their territory back. They're being pushed back and kind of just put down. And Trump's like, "Come on, guys, yeah, just lay down."
That's not even that. The point is if I sit there and I've given you $350 billion to fight this war, to defend yourself, all right, and the only request I've made of you is that, hey, when they say that they're done fighting and they want to talk, just talk, right? If the terms are unreasonable and there's no deal, right? I don't think Donald Trump is going to be upset if they can go back to fighting. You get what I'm saying? But the point is if they want to sit there and they want to have a conversation and talk it out and they want a ceasefire, why when you're losing a war, why would you do that? The only thing Zelenskyy is doing, like you could hear it when he's saying that, right? When you watch the interview, Zelenskyy straight up says it. After me, it's you. All right. So the whole point that he's trying to do is he's trying to bring all of Europe into it. Which I'm not saying it's a bad play. I'll put it this way, right? If I was in his shoes, I can't say it's a bad play, right? Why wouldn't I do that? I'm a losing.
It's not a bad play for Ukraine, but it's obviously a bad play for the world at large. But at the same time, it's like, I don't feel comfortable with Ukraine being forced to lay down because they're getting fucked. They're getting fucked by a terrible, corrupt nation that wants them under their boot and is willing to go to awful, abhorrent lengths to get there.
I think it's part of Europe's fault too, though. You got to understand that Russia tried to join NATO like 3 times.
Yeah, and they've historically been kind of assholes. So, like, I understand the not desire to have them there.
So, like, the whole thing is like Russia is like, we want peace, we want peace, we want peace. And then it's like, I don't know. I'm definitely not an expert in the decision, but I just feel like the whole idea of you're going to take this ceasefire or we're going to stop giving you money is this like super simple and easy request. And everybody's making it seem like, oh, well, Donald Trump is siding with dictators. It doesn't have it. The way I would describe it is, you could be my friend, Riley. I mean, you can go into a bar, but if you scream the N-word extremely loudly and a bunch of black guys start beating you up, all right? Yeah, I'm your friend, but I shouldn't have to defend you because you're doing something extremely stupid.
You wouldn't help defend me from the woke mob if I said the N-word.
No, I would defend you from the woke mob. I'm not going to defend you from the 7 black guys.
That's what I'm saying. They're the woke mob. They're coming at me as the woke mob, and they're beating the shit out of me.
No, they're not. But you get the idea, right? So the whole point is like, we're defending you, we're giving you all this money, we're just asking you to chill the fuck out, and you don't want to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, no, Go ahead.
Donald Trump said this too, right? Everybody's like, the United States was the only one that didn't disavow the war, right? We're sitting here and we're trying to make a deal, and the whole world is like, fuck that terrorist, right? How are you supposed to make a deal with somebody that you keep calling a terrorist and you
Because
keep calling all these names?
you're not, because you're not supposed to negotiate with terrorists. And I would describe dictators as terrorists, and I would describe Vladimir Putin as a dictator.
Yeah, well, guess what, Riley? They have a bajillion nukes. All right.
So do
So
we.
you're going to negotiate with that terrorist. All right.
So do we, though. They know we have them too.
It doesn't matter. All right. You negotiate because we want to like not blow up the world.
Yes, we live in a universe. Goal. We live in a universe where nobody wants to press that button, and nobody is going to until we get a fucking insane crackpot enough in there to do it. And we've got some insane crackpots in there, so we'll see what happens. But it seems like the general temperature is don't press that button so that we don't all die. So it just seems like those bombs are just gonna kind of sit there, hopefully forever. But who knows? Somebody might be retarded enough to fire him off.
Well, see, you've already got Russia. Russia at the beginning of the war he made it explicitly clear that if anybody interferes, he's going to press the button. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, you said that in fucking 2021 when the war started. How's that button going for you, Vlad?
It worked. Europe didn't intervene, but it's not working.
The U.S.
now.
did.
Like everybody, we gave them weapons, but we didn't put soldiers on the ground.
Oh, okay. But no, I just think like Ukraine, it's hard. It's a hard issue for me to pin down, right? This is one that I'm kind of like in the middle on. Like there are some issues on which I'm sort of undecided, and this is one of them where like there is a lot of financial aid going on, and it does feel like it is at somewhat to the expense of the American people in a manner that should not be happening. But at the same time, I feel like it is important for us as like the most powerful military country in existence by far, and a country that boasts to have high moral values, to defend the little guy when they're getting fucked. And I would describe this whole Russia-Ukraine thing as the little guy getting fucked. And that's why I'm like less jazzed about pulling out of it. Like everybody say, like pull out of it, stop giving them money, and it's like I get it. We're giving them a lot of money. FEMA like ran out of money magically when Florida had a hurricane. That kind of sucks. We probably should have saved some of that for FEMA. But I still think Ukraine deserves some help from us. I think we should be out there. How many countries are we like aiding? Real? Is it just the two, or is it like hundreds? And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know the scope of it really.
I mean,
because there's Ukraine and there's Israel are the two that I know of that we're aiding.
I mean, those are the wars that we're aiding. I mean, we made Sesame Seed in Iraq.
Okay, yeah. Four and aid in different ways all around the world. Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. But like maybe some of those stupid things could be cut for sure. But I think we should be out there helping Ukraine, and I think we should be out there helping Palestine, which we're doing the opposite, which upsets me greatly. But you know, that's the world we live in.
But the point is I think Russia started this war purely for power, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that they keep doing it and they keep starting these wars, and Europe finally banded together and stopped them. And I think Russia at this point, it's not worth it for them anymore. They've spent all this money. They're the bad guys. They're the villains. Nobody, they were slapped with all of this sanctions and all of these economic force that we've put on them. All right. And they want something out of it. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, what do? Right? Do you start World War III or do you give them some land?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like for the needs of the many versus the needs of the few, but it's just like it's so morally repugnant.
It does suck for them. I feel
that, it sucks for them, and it's morally repugnant.
It's hard. It really is. There's no real answer, but I still say that if Russia came to Ukraine and was like, we're gonna stop fighting, right? I'm gonna take my troops and I'm gonna put them in Russia, and you're gonna take your troops and you're gonna put them in Ukraine, and we're gonna talk this out, right? that
How about
they
first
should
I go
have
ahead and
funded.
take my people and put them back in their homes that you stole, and then maybe we could talk about some peace.
I know, but the thing is, this is what Donald Trump's saying though. Peace starts with a conversation. All right. If you refuse to even come to the table and talk, right, then what's the point? It's just never going to stop.
Okay, I see your point. I see your point.
Okay. Even though you want these
I
things,
was
it's
under the
okay to have
impression
demands.
I was under the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that like ceasefires were some sort of like official like NATO sort of thing where it was like a
No,
contract and breaching it made you like an enemy of like the allies or whatever.
no, a cease. Wow. Okay. Just a ceasefire is literally two people going.
Look, I made a
I'm
lot
not going
of
to shoot you, and you're not going to shoot me. All right. And we're going to come and we're going to try to talk this out instead of fighting each other.
it just seems
All
that
right.
because of how
And
much foreign
Ukraine,
countries are involved in ceasefire talks, I thought maybe it was a sort of like coalition contract that like if
Ukraine,
violated there were consequences.
Ukraine is like, we're not going to talk and we're not going to do a ceasefire. We're going to keep fighting. And the United States is like, no, calm the fuck down. We're giving you all this money. We want you to go talk with Russia and try to settle your differences peacefully. All right. And Russia's like, no, we want them to give me all of this stuff before we'll even come to the table to negotiate.
I
Bullshit.
I understand the level of like loyalty to your own people, Ukraine patriotism, for lack of a better term, to be like, no, we're not gonna
It
fucking lay
has
down our
nothing.
arms.
It has nothing to do with that, right? And all to do with, Ukraine isn't trying to take over Russia. All right, Ukraine is just simply trying to defend itself.
Ukraine
Okay, so
Ukraine wants their fucking stuff back. They want the homes of their fucking people back.
that's fine. That's fine. But the thing is, though, is when you negotiate with somebody, all right, you don't sit there and demand things and not budge. Right? You have to sit there and you have to take 2 seconds to sit there and say, look, let's try to talk it out. There's nothing harm. You can pick up your weapon and start fighting tomorrow. All right? If talks break down, talks break down. It happens or whatever. But the thing is to sit there and to be so arrogant that you're not even going to come to the table and to just conversate. It's bullshit. To me, it's bullshit.
Yeah, no, that seems like he's definitely trying to, as you said, like make a play as far as getting Europe involved, but that play is obviously like catastrophic for the rest of the world. So I would say Zelensky's probably not acting in full moral clarity here. But my heart is less with Zelensky and more with the nation of Ukraine. And unfortunately, Zelensky is the representation for Ukraine. So when Trump is talking to him, he's basically
I
talking
think
to
he's being.
Ukraine and then telling Ukraine to fuck off. And then it's a whole thing.
I don't like your word. I don't like the way you use that he's being immoral. I don't think he's being immoral. All right. He's doing what is best for the Ukrainian people, right? If all of Europe stood up and came to Ukraine's defense, that would be good for Ukraine, right? Ukraine wants that, right?
But it would
But
be
if we
bad.
all go to
It would be bad for like the world because it would start World War III. So that's why it's like I wouldn't describe it as like I've morally repugnant as I earlier described Russia's war crimes. But I would
Riley,
describe it as a little dubious.
Riley,
Yeah.
when I walk down the street, okay, and I see an old lady getting her shit rocked, all right, it's morally incomprehensible for me to walk away, but at the same time, it's not my fucking job. All right, it's not my responsibility to put myself in danger. Okay, so even though it isn't my moral obligation, right? And there's nothing wrong with me walking away. It's morally the wrong thing to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
So,
I mean, I guess I have a belief in strong morals in all cases, and I kind of try
so,
to
so, so, so
strive.
both the point that I make is both can be true, right? It could be bad for the world, but he has a moral obligation to do his best for his people.
Yeah. He has a loyalty to his people, obviously, and like I respect that for sure. I respect him, but like I just don't know
So
if
I
he's
don't
going. I
I
just don't know
don't
if he's going about this in the right way in the interest of the rest of the world, and I happen to be in the rest of the world, so I've got a stake in that. So I'm
yeah,
so I'm kind of
but but to me, and if I was him, fuck the world. I don't give a shit about the world. I give a care about me, right? So you know, he should do that. You know, I'm not disagreeing with him. I just think that I just feel like if Russia came and was like, hey man, let's talk this out.
Well, that's what I'm
Right?
saying.
Know,
I'm saying getting rid of that, like completely just pie facing that option in favor of trying to goad Europe into starting World War III for them is a little bit much.
Well, his stance is his whole. To me, I feel like his whole stance is no. If you don't sit there, you don't give us our borders, and you don't give us this, you don't give us that, and when you start making all these demands, right, and you don't promise us at least this basic thing, we won't agree to a ceasefire. We'll fight to the end of the earth, right? And you've got Europe over here that's trying to get involved. So I feel like Donald Trump is like, whoa, chill out, Zelenskyy. I don't want Europe involved, because if Europe gets involved, I'm going to have to get involved, and World War III breaks out. You know, you don't want. I don't know who would side with Russia. I know North Korea would side with them. But yeah, you know, is Russia and India and Brazil, all of them gonna come together and get in this war and get messy?
I mean,
You know,
obviously the geopolitical landscape has changed intensely. Like if we go through the Axis powers from last time, like how many of them would be on our side this time? Like, are we cool with Germany now? Are we cool with Japan?
No, this is what happens. This is what happens. If World War III happens, to me, I feel like this is exactly what's going to happen, right? Europe gets involved with Ukraine. China invades Taiwan and sides with Russia. So now you have
that's another one.
The US,
China for sure.
Yeah. So now what you have is the United States, who has to now defend Taiwan because Russia is also invading Taiwan, because these two are working together. Now it's the United States, Europe, Ukraine, and versus Russia and China. All right. Then you have to understand of where is everyone else going to do? All right. You know, I feel like Australia and Japan, not people who are allies with us, like Australia and people like that. Who knows if they get in? Who knows if they're going to come in and do it? You know what I'm saying? Who knows if they're going to participate? You don't really know. All right. But I do know that at the bare minimum, I feel like if Europe goes after Russia, China says, okay, it's time for us to take Taiwan. They go and they try to take Taiwan, and they drag the U.S. into it, and you've got U.S., Europe versus fucking Russia and China, and that sucks.
That sucks really bad, and also like if it's Russia, if it's basically like the entire world versus Russia and China, it's like how sustainable is that for the other side? And then the fear on our side is if Vladimir Putin feels an appropriate amount of cornered, for the glory of the motherland, might he push the button and change the world forever? And that's the thing we have to be concerned about.
It's not even just that, Riley. It's not the world versus these two countries. Because, yes, it seems like when you think about it, you go, oh, you've got these 1,000 countries versus fucking Russia and China. It's not that. All right?
I know not literally that, but I'm saying the big hitters.
Hold on. You have to understand. China has more population than all of Europe.
But do they have more military than all of Europe? I don't think so.
It doesn't matter. They can sit there. Their people is, they keep going.
Oh yeah, I guess they could just send them in. But like, regardless, China has a lot of people. But like,
so the point that I'm making is that when it comes to, I know the wars nowadays is more than just people versus people, 100%. But the point that I'm making is that this is not something that's not going to be extremely bloody.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate situation to be in, and I wish Zelenskyy would just calm down and talk. I'm not a particular fan of how Trump handled the situation, because obviously I'm overall on Zelenskyy's side. I don't like him getting fucking kicked out of the White House and having his conferences canceled or whatever the fuck. I'm not a fan of that. But I do think he should be open to peace talks.
I think Donald Trump handled it the way you're supposed to. He sat there and he said, "Listen, if peace talks are an option, you're going to take it, because I'm not going to allow," he even said that, "I'm not going to allow you to cause World War III. All right, you're gambling with World War III, and I'm not going to have it. It's not good for the American people for World War III to cut back off because I'm going to have to go in and spend my money to do it. I'm not going to keep letting you spend my money. So the ultimatum he gave Zelenskyy is you take the peace deal or I'm pulling out of Ukraine and they can take you over. I'd rather you get taken over than to allow World War III to happen. And I don't think that's a morally bad take. It sucks. Nobody wants to happen, right? I morally am reprehensive of the slave trade that is in chocolate. All right. But at the end of the day, if it's slaves making chocolate or World War III, I'm going for slaves making chocolate.
Yeah, it's morally complex, but like I don't want World War III to start, but at the same time, like in my
two things can be true. You can not want both to happen, but you can take one of the. If you have to take one or the other, there's not a universe where you take one or the other. All right, I 100% would rather Ukraine fall than a whole world lose millions and millions of more people. It's purely a numbers thing.
Yeah,
it's purely a numbers thing.
Selfishly, that is what I would prefer. But the thing is, like, it's like
I don't even think it's selfish, Riley.
Russia is
purely
a corrupt dictatorship nation trying to fucking put their boots on the neck of another nation that has the right to exist as its own people. And they're getting completely fucked, and it's tragic, and it's morally repugnant, and maybe Europe should be jumping at the defense of that, but the unfortunate side effect of that is a snowball effect that leads to World War III, which is what we want to avoid. So it's a morally complicated issue.
It's purely a numbers game, Riley. If you could kill 1,000 people to save 20 million people, you kill the 1,000 people. All right. If you have a plane, this is the United States policy now, by the way. If you have a plane, all right, and it's full of a bunch of civilians, and it was hijacked, and it's on its way to a tower, all right. The actual United States playbook is to blow the plane out of the sky, civilians and all, because you'd rather kill the civilians that are on the plane than that plane crash into a building and kill millions of more. Does that make sense?
You know, that makes sense, but it's just like overall, like this is just going to continue to be a problem. Like there's going to be a snowball effect either way. Either the snowball effect is going to be Europe steps in to help Ukraine and World War III starts, or the snowball effect is going to be Russia takes over Ukraine, Russia gets a power rush, and maybe they start trying to take over some more places, and then we get World War III anyway.
And I mean, and that's fair. That's to me, it's a fair concern. But at the end of the day, I don't think so. He doesn't want to fall out of power. When you go into to me, that's a risky war. Nobody wants that, right? If you're sitting there and you're playing chess, there's no move on the board where you sit there and you risk your whole game to take one piece, right? Ukraine is one piece. All these countries are small pieces of the whole puzzle of power. You know what I'm saying? Why would you risk completely and utter annihilation of your power over something that, like, you've got all this immense power anyway? Why would you risk that? There's no point in it.
Because Ukraine are our allies, and they're full of innocent people that are getting mowed down and kicked out of their homes by Russia.
Let's get one thing straight. Ukraine, we've liked them. We have good relationship with them, but they're not officially an ally. That was the whole thing with Russia, right? Is that all these people were joining NATO. They wanted to join NATO. We wouldn't let them join NATO. The whole reason why we made NATO is because we're all like, fuck Russia. We don't want Russia to have power. So we created this whole coalition to go against them. All right? They got tired of it. And they said, look, we actually had a treaty that said these countries could never join NATO because we don't want NATO on our border. All right? That was one of the reasons why, I could be wrong on this, but I believe it was one of the reasons why they even invaded in the first place, was that Ukraine
wanted to join NATO.
Yeah, Ukraine wanted to join NATO. You had all of these countries around them that were getting invaded, and so they were pressuring NATO to let them in because they didn't want to get taken over too. All right, and that was Russia's justification for joining the war in the first place. right? So at the end of the day, we drew a line in the sand and says we're going to do this to stop you from getting into power, and they clearly drew their line. We can't keep sitting there and you get what I'm saying? Like, you can't just keep fucking somebody over.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're right at the end of the day.
They're forced to make a play. If everyone around you is gaining power, specifically to stop you from gaining power, you have to keep getting stronger, or you risk them taking you over.
You know, that's a problem. And, like, I don't even necessarily... The way you describe NATO as an anti-Russian entity, I don't know if I have a, like, problem with that even at all. I don't know if you're implying you do. But because Russia has continued to consistently be, like, the most, like, effective, corrupt, dictatorship fucked nation, besides, like... Well, they're probably more effective than North Korea, I would say. North Korea's up there, I suppose. But Russia has always been like the most like effective, massive force of like this horrible, corrupt dictatorship that can never quite be broken out from. So I understand the desire to be like, all right, we all got to band together so that in case Russia gets a little pissed tomorrow, we can like be ready.
The whole idea of NATO, though, was that if one country gets attacked, they all get attacked. That's the basic sum of it. There's no reason why you shouldn't let Russia join in on that.
Because what are their intentions? Like, would they even? Is it a trick? Like, maybe they're joining NATO under false pretenses.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, because at the end of the day, right? If everyone comes in the room and they say, "Listen, let's be friends," right? You let them be friends. Because put it to you this way, right? What if the play was we let Russia join NATO? All right. Then we sit there and we go, all the countries that are on your border, we're going to let them be NATO now. All right. Well, you're part of NATO. Why can't we all be friends? You wouldn't be friends. What's wrong with them being friends? All right. Then when they go and they actually invade them, now it's all of Europe instead of parts of Europe. You've excluded them. You've left them out of the talking tables. You drew a line in the sand, and they drew a line in the sand and said, these people can't join you. All right. And now, they're going to war over it, and we can't even help them because they're not part of the alliance. I feel like there was a world where you let Russia join NATO, and then you let all of the other countries join NATO.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just like what... It's, again, you have to let somebody get close to you to that degree. You have to have some level of trust for them. And I understand that NATO as a collective has zero trust for Vladimir Putin or the nation of Russia.
Riley. But, because we're part of NATO, we have bases all throughout. All right? There is no reason. So if, let's say, Russia joins NATO and they put military bases in Europe, so fucking what? We put military bases in you. It's the classic Mexican standoff, Riley. If I've got military bases in your country, you've got military bases in my country. I know you, you know me. We've all got guns pointed at each other.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm not a fucking expert on geopolitics, so I'm trying my best here, but like it's a hard nut to crack for two 20-year-old retards streaming to two people on YouTube.
I'm not an expert either, right? But the point that I'm making is that I feel like we have the world that they're going, well, Donald Trump is siding with dictators and blah, 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 right? When in reality, I just feel like he's trying to stop the war, right? You saw it all throughout his election, right? Everybody was like, condemn Russia, condemn Russia, condemn Russia. He's like, I'm not Russian. I'm not Ukrainian. I don't care. I just want people to not die. I don't feel like how is that such a bad thing to say? Have you ever seen his speech where he said that?
No, but I mean, like, that's not a bad thing to say, but at the same time, it's like, how far does it have to go? Because, like, I know this is the classic fucking debate example, and it's a fucking stupid-ass poll, but, like, humor me for a second, because it's the best example I could think of. Would you have had this attitude about, like, if Hitler was doing shit? Like if we could somehow broker peace with Hitler, would you want that, or would you want us to kind of rise up and try to free the German people?
It doesn't. See, the line is dangerous because it's not my job. It's not has nothing to do with me, right? So, Riley, if we were in the exact same situation, the only difference was that instead of Vladimir Putin, you had Russia or you had Hitler. The situation is still the same. All right, you have thousands of people dying. Right, we're
But
on the
it's just
cusp of
general.
World War.
Ukraine is just the catalyst. Russia's our enemy for other reasons. The point is that nation is operating corruptly under a terrible dictatorship that's morally repugnant.
What do you
And
mean they're our enemy? Why are they our enemy?
because I guess they're not our enemy in particular, but I'm saying they're like a terrible, corrupt nation. Like not to the same extent as Nazi Germany, obviously. But I'd put them in a similar category.
If they made cheap iPhones like China, all right, like we say the same thing about China. We still have relationships with China. We still benefit from them.
Which I don't particularly like either, but at least China's not like going to well, I guess they are kind of going to one of our buddies and fucking them over, but I think they've calmed down on that a little bit, if I'm correct. I haven't heard anything in a while.
Yeah, they're trying to take Taiwan.
They're trying to take Taiwan.
They already took over Hong Kong.
Is that an ongoing effort? Are we supporting Taiwan?
No,
Is there a war happening?
Yeah.
Or...
No, so the reason why we're supporting Taiwan, we actually have a major reason to support Taiwan. The majority of our conductors are made in Taiwan.
Okay. Uh-oh. Brad, you're cutting out, buddy. You're cutting out bad. I think it's on your end because the stream is still running. I don't know if you can hear me right now. Okay, well, you're very robotic and garbled. I just barely pieced together I can hear you. Okay, hello? Yeah, camera's loading. Not quite loaded yet. Loading, loading, loading. You love it when it's loading. Okay, so you can hear me just fine. I thought I could hear you a second ago. It is probably you, but how's the stream still going then?
No.
Alright, let's see. Root. Is Discord like going down or something? Okay, now I'm back. Okay, now I'm back. I'm in the green and you're still cutting out. So it seems like it's on your end. Brad, reset the Wi-Fi on your phone and then come back, or not on your phone, on your computer, and then come back. Oh, maybe? Nope. I see a still image of Brad. He's still cutting out. I love technology. It's fucking sick as fuck. I'll restart my computer. Probably good. It doesn't necessarily mean Discord is weird. I don't quite understand how it works. It does not necessarily mean if I hear you perfectly, it is on your end. Because Crow Royalty doesn't work. You'll just restart. Restart what? What's I gonna say? Something about fucking Crow Royalty. God damn it! What was I gonna say? Oh, Crow Royalty is like internet is like all fucky. And we do have scenarios all the time where they can hear me perfectly and they're roboting to shit, and it's definitely on their end. So it can happen. Your PC. Well, I can't restart my PC. I'm on the fucking stream. I gotta use the bathroom. Okay. Only can't I don't have a fucking mobile device near me. to text a third party to jump in to see if they start fucking up. Hold on, let's lose the Discord capture for a minute. I don't need to grow the Death Stream logo. It's fine if there's a black screen. Okay, no, you're still fucked, Brad. Let me see if I can get somebody. Oh, but my connection was fucked for a second. Hello? Hello? What the fuck? How is the stream not fucking up? Is Discord down? Is Discord like fucking up? Jesus Christ, I hope not. Fucking hope not. Let's see. We still gotta talk about Twitter. Gotta get this going here. Okay, starting to come in. Hello? Keeps warbling. This must be like a Discord issue. It's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, the average ping 1312. Yeah, that's pretty bad. There's gotta be.
Sorry, I had to use the bathroom. You there?
Yes, you're still roboting. Let me see. Maybe if it's a separate connection. Let me try calling you privately and see if that changes anything. Dancing in the dark, like moonlight in the park. Come on. Why didn't he pick up? Why is he still in chat? Do you not understand the fucking directive? Man, I love technology. It's so fucking cool. Eventually he should get the memo. I don't want to have to fucking jump in and out of calls. Now it's showing my average ping is 0, which I know is not correct. It's just not tracking it correctly.
You have 470,000 messages. Does that work?
Yes, it actually does.
Wait, this is seriously about sandwiches?
Okay.
I thought this was about drugs or guns.
Anyway.
Hold on.
I
gotta. This is gonna take some tweakery, I think. Let's see. Okay, yeah, no, it still looks the same. So sorry if you want to call in. I guess I'll have to explain that to anybody who happens to click the call-in stream and be like, where is everybody if that happens? But we're here. We're back.
listen. I don't think you should ever think this way. I think that you should always tell yourself that luck has nothing to do with your life, and that you're going to take your life in your own hands, and you're going to do the best you can. And if you do that, you'll be okay, right?
Sure.
That's like the general mindset humans should have. But at the end of the day, you have to be realistic. And the realism of it all is that sometimes you're born with no arms and no legs, or you're born with cancer, and you just have really bad spawn RNG.
I was born with glass
Right.
bones and paper skin. Every
Right.
day
A
I break my
Chinese
arms.
kid
Every
that
night I break my leg. Sorry, go ahead.
a Chinese kid who is 9 spawned in with bad RNG and has to work in a sweatshop. It just is what it is. It is not my job obligation nor my moral responsibility to go out of my way and to be a champion of justice and to ensure that this kid gets to uh have democracy and freedom of speech. It's not my job.
But the
All right.
thing, it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword where in the context of this greater nation conflict, the United States has kind of always been that. And I'm seeing a strong initiative from like the right and like libertarian and center crowd to like to not be that way anymore. And it's like
I don't think
I
so.
understand because we're fucking falling apart and we have a ridiculous amount of debt and we need to like focus on our own people, but at the same time it's hard to just like drop that. But it's like, okay, so we're the hero who has to protect people, but now because we've got some fucking shit going on in our world, we just have to be like, sorry guys, fucking you're on your own for a while. We got to figure this shit out.
No. No, name an example of us being heroes.
Not I mean maybe not necessarily heroes, but like we've always been like we will again with foreign aid, like we've always been willing to help other countries stand up against like the corrupt forces that are fucking with them.
Explain an example of that.
I mean the Ukrainian war, fucking Russia is a corrupt nation trying to put their boot on somebody's neck, and United States is stepping in and being like, no, fuck you.
See,
And we
see, the
did
thing,
that for 4 years, and now Trump's here, and he's like, don't care about him.
the thing is, though, Riley, is that at the end of the day, there's a selfish intent behind it too. All right. The big thing that nobody understands is when the United States give foreign aid to other countries like this, specifically military aid, it's not for them. It's for us, right? Technologies are always changing, and the best way for you to understand whether or not your technology works or not is to fucking use it in a war. All right?
Yeah,
what you
no,
end up doing,
there's always some level of benefit to be had from war if it goes well for you. Like,
but like to me, like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, a lot of these like little wars that we had with Russia, I don't particularly think of them as us going out and trying to be fucking heroes and spread democracy. I think realistically, the intention behind the U.S. government is this selfish thing of, you know what, we're gonna have these like mini wars, and we're gonna like flex our muscles and try to see if we can take them, and we're gonna like build up our technology and see if we could like advance ourselves and be prepared.
well, to be fair, I think the whole situation is like you say that, but like obviously it's okay. So the United States isn't perfect. Almost every government is corrupt in some way. We live in this world now where our jobs as a society is to figure out how to manipulate the corrupt forces that control our place in the world into doing the right thing. That's the entire fucking bit. Like maybe the United States is not, maybe the United States government is not in it for the most morally clear reasons, but the reason why the people are rallying for them to keep going is for morally clear reasons, and the idea is that enough of that would sway them to continue to make the decision to protect the little guy, and reap the benefits on the side, because of course they're going to, because they're corrupt, because literally everyone is corrupt, but we have to pit the little corrupt forces against each other to find our place in the world. That's just the world we live in.
I think, uh, the I do think that the plan with Trump with the minerals thing, everybody kept making fun of him for it. But I really think that the general idea is that if we have this deal with Ukraine where we get a bunch of money from them, we can then put our troops in Ukraine and go, listen, Russia, now we have a vested interest. They're going to give us a shit ton of money, right? We're not going to let you come fuck with our money. So we're gonna have to both come to a deal, or we're gonna have to go to war, and nobody wants that. I got nukes, you got nukes, so let's talk this out, right? And it makes more sense for them to have a conversation then for Russia. Then it's not Ukraine versus Russia; it's Ukraine and the United States and her money versus Russia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. Again, I fully support peace talks. I'm saying I've said this whole time that Zelensky's in the wrong for not doing the peace talks. But if those peace talks go wrong, then Ukraine needs to stay at its ground, and I do not want Ukraine to get taken over. And if that does cause World War III, that fucking sucks. But at the same time, it's like I don't know if I'm willing to let the little guy get fucked. Yeah.
What's it called? The thing is, another thing is that I think the reason why Trump really crashed out, I don't know if you saw it, but did you see where Zelenskyy said that he's been, the Ukrainian people's been fighting alone this entire time?
Did he say that? I did not hear that particular quote.
I urge you to go find the interview and go watch it. So basically, Ukraine made a comment of like the United, he basically said, in short, the Ukrainian people has been fighting alone this war this entire time. And after they take over me, they're going to take over you. And that's why you need to keep supporting us.
That's the thing. I kind of agree with that line of logic.
Well, but then Donald Trump says, you've been in this alone. What about the $350 billion that we provided you? He specifically said, your soldiers are brave. They're out there. They're the ones that's fighting. But they're fighting with our military equipment. You're not doing this alone. We've been here the entire time, and for you to say that is disrespectful. Donald Trump basically said that he was disrespectful the entire time.
Yeah, which I mean, I understand, but at the same time, like, I feel like in that business you gotta kind of be able to handle a little disrespect. Like, we're kind of dealing with a lot of life or death for you to be like, oh, you've dishonored my household. Get the fuck out of here.
No, I feel like if I'm the one, to me it's like if your friend comes over and he like is homeless and he's at your house and he's eating all your food, and then he goes on TV and he's like, it's been hard being homeless. I'm out here by myself on these streets doing nothing. It's like, well, fuck you then. I'm giving you all this money and all this support, and you can't even at least acknowledge that I'm helping you out.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Like I said, Zelensky's not handling this the best. Like,
hey, by the way, I love JD Vance, but when you watch the interview, for the love of God, why is JD Vance there? The whole time. No, the whole time he's like, you need to thank me. You need to say thank you to the American people. And Zelensky's like, I've said thank you. I've said thank you, but this is our stance. This is what we want to do. It's like that, he contributed nothing to the entire conversation.
Man, if the RNC elects fucking JD Vance in 2028, my God, fucking, I'm ready.
He's gonna win.
We're ready to take back the. No, they're not. No, he's fucking not. Come on, JD Vance is a loser. Vance.
No, he's not, dude.
His power level is like fucking. He's the Krillin to Trump's Goku, or like the more accurately probably the Nappa to Trump's Vegeta or something. Where to use evil example, but
listen, I'm telling you, you haven't. Have you watched any of his speeches or debates?
I've seen clips. I haven't watched an entire one, but I've seen clips.
If you actually go and you watch his debates and you listen to his speeches, all right. He is on par. He doesn't have the swagger of Donald Trump. Donald Trump be throwing out insults, right? He's definitely more of the politician where he says the right thing, but he says it in like a politician way. So like, for an example, that one, I don't remember what it was about. It was something about USID. And she was like we, it's our moral job to like go out and help these people and blah, 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 blah. He was like, I do not care. It is not our job to go do all this stuff. Like, if you really watch him, he's really smart and witty. And then, to me, have I read to you the quote from his speech in Munich?
If you have, I don't recall that it was in Munich. So let's hear the quote.
Okay, hold on, I gotta find it. He said this so right now, a big problem with Europe is that they're getting rid of free speech.
Yes.
All right. Like, have you heard about Germany?
What about in particular? I've heard they have some, strong speech guidelines over there. Like you can't mention the funny mustache man too much,
That's
and
I'm fine with that. All
which
right.
is
There's a complete reasonable expectation. I understand that we have our culture and they have their culture. I understand that our definition of free speech is not going to be the same worldwide. Right. I get that. Right. But like in Germany, if you walk down the street and you like, if I walked up or if me and you were walking down the street and I saw you and I said, "Hey, fat ass, get out of my fucking way," like I could get a ticket for that. And then if I say it on the internet, they'll come to my house and like arrest me and like take my shit.
yeah, no, that's fucked. That's terrible. That's fucking
Uh,
dystopian. Freedom of speech is one of the most important pillars of society, like ever. Like I can't stress
so
that
so
enough.
like
The
like
all of
it,
the most horrible shit in the world was caused because people weren't allowed to speak up about it. Like it's the speech is extremely important.
but you have like shit like that happening, and there's more examples than just Germany. I know in the United Kingdom they have it. I don't know about anywhere else, right? I don't like go out and specifically research every single country in Europe and like look up, oh, do they fucking do this? You know what I'm saying? I just know like it's a problem, and I don't know the extent of it, but I do know it's really bad in the United Kingdom and it's really bad in Germany, and I also do know it's not really bad in all countries. It's just some countries, right? Well, JD Vance, the whole Munich thing was about it's a security conference and they have it every year and they talk about um, the dangers facing Europe, right? The whole idea of the conference, they get together and they talk about what's dangerous, right? Everyone there was talking about Russia, Russia, Russia for obvious reasons, right? JD Vance didn't go up there and talk about Russia. JD Vance says that he felt like the number one thing that is a danger to Europe is the regression of free speech and how they have retracted and they're going back on the values that democracies and the American people have always fought for years. All right.
I just feel like
And
JD doesn't have like the rallying power that Trump has. I think is my issue. Like they're both okay, so I'm like a far leftist. So obviously to me, politically, they're both retarded. But the difference is that one of them knows how to present their ideas in the perfect way to get a giant mob of people to scream his name, and the other one is kind of just like a shitty politician dork.
I'm telling you, when he goes, he destroyed the debate with Tim Walz. All right. He destroyed a debate with some reporter. All
I'm gonna
right.
have to
And then
hear the Tim Walz
this
debate because Tim Walz seems fairly confident. I don't know if I believe you. God, confident, competent is what I meant to say. I'm not competent. Tim Walz seems fairly
no
competent. I don't know if I believe you.
in the realm of like I'm giving you the perspective of like on the right? Because I get a lot of right wing content on my my like YouTube and stuff, right?
With
So
almost
there's a
no exceptions, it's the right wingers think the right wing run the debate, the left wingers think the left won the debate. There's
no no
limited
no 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 no
exceptions,
no no
such
no.
as
no. no.
when
What I'm saying is when he was first announced, everyone hated him. All right, the right was so mad. Everybody wanted Donald Trump so badly to pick a black vice president. Everyone wanted it. Everyone wanted it, dude. I'm telling you, everyone wanted it. It would have shut down all of the racist
black,
and all
female,
the
or
bullshit.
both. That's what I was expecting. That he could try to shut down like a narrative about his biases by doing either a black person, a woman,
Um,
or a black woman.
but anyway,
Tulsi
he
Gabbard.
debated
Why
too.
didn't he pick Tulsi
But he,
Gabbard? She would have been
but
perfect.
but the thing is though is he debated all of these people, and every time he debates these people, he's smart, he's competent, and he's witty. And you know this is the quote. Listen, this is what American politicians should be saying to the world on the world stage, right? This is the most American thing I can think of. You have all of these people on the internet who disagrees with this right here, Tell me this isn't American. This is verbatim what he said. I went and wrote this verbatim. You ready?
Sure.
If you're afraid of the voices of your own people, then there's nothing the American people do to help you, and there's nothing you could do for the American people.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough.
All right? And everyone, listen, I swear to God, the day after he said this, you have the news clip or a news article. You ready? J.D. Vance defends Nazi hate speech in Germany because Munich is in Germany.
Okay.
Not what he
Interesting.
fucking said. Yeah, like Americans defend all speech, right? Because we believe that all speech is important, right? But that's not what he fucking said, right? It would be completely and utterly out of line for any politician to go, yeah, you need to let Nazis march in your fucking streets, Germany. That's retarded. Nobody wants that, all right? Super bad. There's nothing wrong with Germany stopping funny mustache man rallies, right? But at the end of the day,
I mean,
you shouldn't get it. You shouldn't get assaulted. You shouldn't get arrested for insulting someone on the street.
yeah, sure, for sure. And I mean, even with the Nazi march thing is kind of complicated. Like, obviously, okay, to be clear, obviously,
Jerry Springer, 1997.
Jerry Springer, 1997. That was a really good point you made, and we can go in depth into that. But the point is, the whole Nazis marching situation is like, obviously I don't want Nazis to march. My heart will not break if Nazis do not march. But the point is, what is the limit of freedom of speech? And if a limit is set, then what slippery slope effect could come from it? That's my main concern.
If Jewish Holocaust survivors says let them Nazis march, you let them Nazis march, goddammit. I will stand on this hill. If Holocaust victims say, you know what, this is why we came to America, is because yes.
Because freedom of expression, freedom of speech, no matter what, unconditionally.
It's not even that. It's not even that. They said that the rhetoric is dangerous and the rhetoric is bad. But they came to America because there is no perfect system, and they believe that the pros of free speech outweigh the cons.
Speech. Correct. Because there are cons. I agree that hateful speech is bad. Let me be clear on that, because I feel like I have a reputation for people think I don't believe that. To be clear, I do think hate speech is bad. However, I think it is important to protect because of the slippery slope effect that rises up otherwise. Because what is a hate speech?
I don't know, I'm writing an article about you right now. Riley says hate speech is bad, but defends Nazi speech.
There you go. Good article.
Fucking 1 million views, $1 million.
It's like when you set the limit, it has to be very clear and very particular. And to me, the most obvious limit to set is direct threat of violence. Like, we're gonna come here and we're gonna do this. Then you can get rid of them. But if they're just like, I hate those guys, then you shouldn't be saying that. But that's fine that you're saying that you shouldn't go to jail or be stopped from saying it with legal government force.
See, but this is the thing though, Riley. I've always said this too. If people want to sit there and say cultures are equal, I disagree. I feel like cultures are good. Different cultures are better at different things. And some cultures are morally better than other cultures.
Oh yeah, some cultures are fucking morally repugnant. The point is, like, just some level of a general sense of tolerance is something we find important, and I find that admirable as a quality in a nation. But at the same time, there are obviously cultures who do things that are horrifically morally repugnant. And it's hard to talk about those things because then, you're being, like, culturally insensitive. But it's like, maybe we shouldn't be mutilating women's vaginas maybe we shouldn't be doing some of these things that certain cultures are doing that are these, you know, traditions or whatever that are actively like hurting their people and their people's quality of life, and causing like awful, horrible shit to happen. Like that's out there. That is out there in a lot of places, and it's hard. It's again, it's a hard, sensitive topic to acknowledge. I know you're writing the article about me and all the hate speech that I'm doing right now.
No, actually, it was a news. Actually, it was a notification that popped up on my screen, and it was saying Zelenskyy apologizes. So it was like breaking news.
Oh, well, that's
I'm
nice.
gonna look it up. I believe he made a post on Twitter, so I'm gonna look it up on Twitter and see what he said because this is like breaking news apparently.
I love how Twitter. We got to talk about Twitter before we end this, but like, I do love how Twitter even now is like, just like shit, real world shit will just like happen there, and it's like, why are we having these hashing this out over fucking Twitter?
Dude, I'm looking at his posts, and it's these people. It's all of these like politicians going, "We support you," and he's gone. I assume it's someone he's paying like $1 an hour to do, but he's literally like, "Thank you for your support" to every single one. I'm looking for fucking him kissing Trump's ass. Come on now. Oh, here it is. He said, "Thank you." This was apparently 5 hours ago, so it's not like super breaking. Apparently, I'm just now getting it. He said, "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the visit. Thank you, Congress and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that." That's misleading. That was not an apology.
I mean, hey, we appreciate like what you did for us, and like we're sorry that there was like a level of disrespect, but like we're doing what we feel needs to be done. Like I think that's a fairly reasoned statement.
Oh, right here. This is 50 minutes ago because I typed in Zelenskyy apologizes because I wanted to see if he really apologized. So that article is apparently wrong because I've got 7 articles that say Zelenskyy declines to apologize to Trump.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't think he. I think he should apologize for saying that Ukraine has been fighting in that war alone. I think he misspoke there. I think he should sit there and retract and be like, "Listen, I didn't mean it." And the fact of like, nobody's been helping us. I just meant the fact that my people have been fighting alone. Right? It's just been my people out there that's been dying, and that's why I should have a say in what goes on.
Do we still not have boots on the ground out in Ukraine? It's just financial aid?
Yeah, nobody does. It's just
I thought we did at some point.
No. Russia has claimed that any boots in the ground is a direct war with Russia, and they will respond with force.
I guess I've heard about like Americans fighting in Ukraine, but maybe it's just like a volunteer thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. There has been like random people that has like, man, I want to go kill some Russians, and they just like hopped on a plane and they left. Right? Like that's, and then of course you're gonna give them fucking guns, right? Like
Ukraine's sure, fucking get out there, buddy.
Yeah. We're not gonna say no. We're not gonna say no.
Give a nice clap on the shoulder. Yeah, buddy, you got this. But all right. You got anything else to say? Because I think I'm thoroughly Ukrained out.
I've been playing a lot of Valorant, right? And so I just imagine somebody that's getting their like just not doing a good job in Valorant, and they're like, "Okay, buddy, you're gonna go be our bait. Get out there. We'll see where the enemy's at." and then you have some, but of course they don't say that, right? They're just like, "Hey, buddy, we need you to go over there and take over that house," and he just runs out there. And then when all the Russians come out, that's when Ukraine, they're like, the fucking hillbilly. They ambushed the hillbilly. Let's go.
Yes. Based.
Anyway, we'll end the stream by saying that X is dumb. Stupid rebrand. Nobody wanted it. It's Garbo.
Yeah, it's the whole like
This
complicated.
is a quality product.
True.
All right, X. No.
It's like a complicated tapestry of fuckery that occurred because like it was a whole weird situation where Elon started just like errantly jerking off and being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy Twitter. Look at me, I'm Elon Musk." And then I guess he took it a little too far. And he was like, "Just kidding." And then Jack Dorsey was like, I think Jack Dorsey actually got succeeded by somebody else before Elon, maybe. But regardless, Twitter was like, um, no. You said you were going to give us this amount of money for the platform, and we are going to, that's going to happen. Okay? So Elon Musk was
Riley.
harangued into buying Twitter. Um, and then, yeah.
I think, because, so Elon Musk, he's got autism, and the thing is, not all autism people are like this, but some people who are autistic, they get like super passionate about something, and then they just get like super focused on it, right? And I think at one point it was free speech. That's what he got super focused on, because there
Which
was
is
a
based,
time,
but at the
like,
same
during,
time, sorry, go ahead.
but like there was a time where like you couldn't say anything bad about COVID, right? Without like the whole system shutting you down and not giving you a voice. And you had this whole thing where like if you went on the internet and you said an opinion that wasn't within the mainstream, they banned you as hate speech, right? So he wanted to recreate the platform into that, and I believe he succeeded. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with Twitter. Everybody gets so mad about Twitter. I don't see the whole thing of why everybody hates
Twitter overall continues to operate like successfully, but really that's almost entirely due to the framework already set by people before Elon. What Elon has done is he fucking walks in there, fucking big slinging dick. He's like, okay, first we're gonna fire 90% of these people for no reason. It's the number I came up with. We're gonna fire like wild amount of staff.
Those people obviously weren't doing anything.
But they were, though, because they eventually patched it out, but there were growing pains that were obviously caused by people getting fired that shouldn't have been fired. Like, they were
but that's what happens. Whenever you have a company that large, that's always been the game plan. The game plan is you fire everyone, all right? And once you fire everyone, you find out what stopped working, and then you rehire people to fix the shit that's not broken. That way, instead of you having 1 million employees and like 200,000 of them are not doing anything, now you have the essentials. You have the bare minimum of what you need.
Again, it's a moral game, but like, you know how fucked that is, what you just said? Yeah, just fucking destroy everyone's livelihood, and then if we find out they were important, actually, just hire somebody else to do their job.
It's strictly business, right? Like, he sat there, you know how many people where he sat there and he's like, what do you do? And they're like, I don't know, I come to work.
But that was not the case for a lot of the people he fired.
I want you to think about this. How many people have you worked with and you've seen at your job that sucks, the inefficient, and the company could do without them?
And like maybe a couple. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to that sort of thing. I'm not a fucking businessman. I'm a person, and I care about people. And when people have their livelihoods fucked with, especially when it comes out that maybe that was retarded to do the whole time.
You want them to live, but you also want them to contribute. All right. Anyone who is not
if they're not contributing, they could be gone. But the point is, I feel Elon fired like 90% of Twitter staff, and I'm betting like probably 30% of that were people who did not need to be fired. There's probably like 60% of people who were kind of just like jerking off and fucking around. You can get rid of them. But then there were the people who were actually there and they were doing their job and they were part of the platform. And Elon's like, well, you do it without him. And it turns out you can't do it without him. It's like, okay, we'll find a new guy. It's like, okay, great. So you've just destroyed this guy's livelihood because you didn't think he was important. And it turns out he was important.
Or what happened, hot take, some of those employees got raises because the salary that they were paying the people that weren't working directly went to the people that got hired back. So yeah, they got fired. They lost their job. They had a 3-week vacation, but then they got hired back on for more pay because a lot of the positions that you hire these people back from, you can't just replace them with a new person, right? There's not enough social data engineers or fucking whatever to just hire out of the blue. So then he ends up having to crawl back to these people and like, hey man, you actually like did shit and we need you back, right? Nobody goes, okay, I'll do it for 20 cents less. No one ever does that. They go, oh, I'm needed, so you pay me more. You pay me more, and then they get a raise. And then even though it sucks that you got fired, when you come back, a lot of people. How would you feel if you got fired and then they came back to you, Riley, and they offered you $2 more an hour, and they said, Riley, we appreciate everything that you do. We didn't see it, but when you left, we noticed the difference, right? You provide so much for this company that we didn't see, and you're worth this extra. Wouldn't that make you feel good?
Maybe a little, but there would be a point of pride where I would be very tempted to decline the offer.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But at the end of the day, it's just one of those things of it's a business. You got to take when it comes to business. I've always had this philosophy. To me, it's the government's job to take care of people, and it's the business's job to make money. All right. So, for an example, safety regulations. Right. You want a business to do safety regulations, but they don't do it for the people. Right. They do it because if they don't do it, the government's going to get onto them. Right. Mm-hmm. But when a business makes money, it grows. And when it grows, even though there may be like short-term examples of them being shitty, in the long term, they end up hiring more people and they end up creating lives. Does that make sense? When a business gets money and it grows, all right, you end up helping more people. You end up providing a service, which helps the community. So, like, let's say you had a pizzeria, right? Your community now gets pizza, all right? And when it grows, now instead of you giving wages to 10 people, you're giving wages to 100 people. Now you have 100 people that can feed their kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, again, very, very complicated situation. But regardless, so Elon, okay.
I'm gonna make one more point. Good businesses take care of their employees. If you ever work at a place that doesn't take care of you, you quit. Like immediately. I've always had this philosophy, right? Burger King. The only reason why I stayed at Burger King for as long as I did is I thought I was going to become a general manager. I make like $50,000 a year. All right, I was like, cool. I could put up with this bullshit for $50,000, right? But when that stopped and that was off the table and they weren't going to give it to me anymore, I left right then. Walmart will pay for my college for free. All right, it pays me $14 an hour. What's it called? I get Walmart stock. I get 401k for working there. I get discounts on hotels and all this other bullshit. I get 10% off of all electronics I buy there. I get all of this stuff, right, from Walmart, right? And it doesn't do it the kindness of its heart. It does it because it understands that it's better to take care of your people because it grows your business over the long term. All right. But what ends up happening, Riley, is you end up having people in your business and they don't do anything. And all they do is take up resources. All right. Resources that could go to giving people better pay, better benefits, or just growing the business out so that it gets bigger and so you can even hire more people in the first place. Does that make sense? People that are at your job that do nothing hurt everyone. They hurt you and they hurt the business. Because even though they get to go home and feed their kids, they're taking money out of your pocket and they're taking money out of somebody who wants to feed their kids and can't because they don't have a job.
You know, I don't mind people not doing nothing. People who do nothing losing their jobs. Like even then, like I'm a little bit sympathetic. Like not enough that I would rally to stop it. But it's like if you could beat the system, you go. Yas Queen.
Yeah, if you could beat the system, go. I'm not even going with that. But the point of the matter is when you go to a business and you cut everyone out like that, it's like, yeah, it sucks. for the people that actually were doing something, but it's for the greater good. The whole idea is that you've got all these people and they're dragging everyone down.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's fair enough. But regardless of the
I
jobs, because this was like one of 9 points I wanted to make, Brad. But
oh, go ahead.
Finish
ahead.
though.
I also wanted to say it pisses me off to no end when I hear Twitter lost billions of dollars now because he took it over. Everybody talks about how it's this failed business.
It did, because people
Twitter
stopped downloading it because it wasn't called Twitter anymore.
No. Okay. The point that I was fixing to make, though, Riley, is it still makes a profit. It just doesn't make as much profit anymore. And I don't think it has anything to do with the business practices that Elon Musk made. I think it has to do with advertising, which isn't his fault.
Which also has to do with his
mission-
advertising. Which, again, I agree with him in this crusade. But from a business Twitter standpoint, Elon's standing for aggressive free speech is limiting his advertising reach. And like I don't disagree with that, but I am saying that is a point against Elon in terms of just like, you know, the company and its translation to dollars, because obviously it is getting in the way of that.
Businesses don't always have to do that, right? And so, like, businesses should have a mission statement of what they're setting out to do. They should have a goal. Does that make sense? And it doesn't have, I'm not talking about a business wants to make money, but when you look at any business, right? They're not in the money-making business. They're in a something business. Does that make sense? Like McDonald's is in the burger real estate business, right? You know, they have a goal of how they're going to make the money. All right? Elon Musk's vision to Twitter was, I'm going to create a platform where you can say and do whatever you want unless you're Kanye West, and then I'm going to oppress you because I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to put that joke in there. But anyway, but yeah, that was the whole like idea, right? So even though it's not making as much money, the company is successful in the fact that it's doing what it set out to do.
But it's not, though. That's the other issue. To get to one of my other points, it's a good transition. Elon claims to be pro-free speech, and he's obviously much more pro-free speech than the people who ran Twitter previously. I'm not going to deny that. But also, his own fucking, like, ego and, you know, his own unique little way of looking at things has resulted in, you know, free speech for thee but not for me, basically, or free speech for me but not for thee, sort of situation where like
he does go out and arbitrarily decide like, oh, I don't like this, fuck this.
Yeah, I don't like this, fuck this, you know, like going on Twitter and be like, we should all say more positive things because people were making fun of him too much. Like he's obviously like he's not willing to whole hog free speech. There was like him dragging his feet on unbanning certain people during the unban wave. Like, oh, I'm not going to unban Alex Jones because I had a child die once. So he just doesn't get to get on the free speech train, I've decided. And like other figures such as that, where he just like excluded them from the unban, or he's still banning people for speech to this day. It's much less tight than it was before, but it's still not freedom. Is what's happening over there. It's a weird. It's more free than it was, but because Elon is a weirdo and can't stick to his principles, it's not entirely free.
No, I don't disagree with you on that. I mean, there's nothing really to say. I think I've always said this. I feel like he's just this autistic guy that wants to be cool.
He just wants people to kiss his feet.
No. Worship is the wrong term. I don't like that word.
I think it's the right term, but
I think he just wants to be cool. I think that he wants to be cool Rocket Man, and he wants to like everyone when you think of him.
He wants to be real life Tony Stark. He wants the fucking crowds to cheer for him because he's so fucking smart and he's so fucking innovative, and he can just get up there and fucking drink vodka and piss in his pants, and then everybody will still cheer for him because he's fucking Tony Stark or he's fucking Elon Musk. Like,
Elon Musk wants you to, when you think of him, you see a guy with wearing sunglasses walking away from explosions.
Yeah, exactly. But he also
in
wants
reality,
adoration. So like maybe worship is too strong of a word, but like he's in a pursuit for intense adoration.
He's not gonna achieve it by pretending to play video games and paying people to do it for him.
No, it was fucking. Why did he do that? I don't know, man.
I don't know. Why do you do that?
He's such a
Dude,
weirdo. The fucking Adrian Dittman shit. Why are you doing this, Elon?
Look up.
You have better things to do. Build some fucking rocket ships.
Dude, there's a whole conspiracy theory out there that he has his own separate account, and everyone is like 90% sure it's him.
Adrian
But
Dittman.
Is that what that is?
Yes, Adrian Dittman. He admitted that it was him.
Dude, that is crazy. That is insane.
Yeah.
That's funny, dude. Like, replying to your own post with, that's cool, bro. And then
yeah. Fucking look at me.
I also imagine him like you know that episode of Family Guy where Lois is going through Twitter and her posts all have like 0 likes on them, and so she likes her own post and she goes, yeah, that's gonna get it started. I imagine him doing that, but instead of 1 like, he goes and he's like, I should give myself 10 million.
Yeah,
that'll get it started.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just like, he's this weird little man-child, and the way that he operates is just like so unpredictable and erratic. He'll just like come up with shit randomly to just like completely turn the platform on its head. And it was like, okay, today I've decided that I don't like hashtags. So you should all stop using it. I'm saying that hashtags, can't use them anymore. And it's like, okay, but why? Why are you ruining... Elon is convinced to ruin all branding and everything that makes Twitter, like, interesting. Like, now it's just like a shitty, like, sanitized fucking corpo social media platform. Whereas before, there was, like, some personality to it. There's a fucking little bird, you're tweeting. Like there's things in its branding that make it unique. And Elon, for some reason, decided that all needed to be stripped.
What's it called? Something I need people to understand too is people say never attribute maliciousness to what can be attributed to incompetence, and I feel like Elon Musk is the greatest example of that. Right? Everybody's calling him a Nazi, and they're saying that he's this malicious person when he's not.
I've been saying this the whole time. He's not a Nazi. He's just retarded. That's what's happening. Did you ever did you and Crow fall through again? Did that ever happen?
So Crow has, I don't want to say it on a live stream. He has a personal issue.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for him to deal with that.
Gotcha.
It's not my business to say on a live stream, so I'm not going to say. But I feel like he still wants to debate, but I'm not sure. He's got his own thing going on, and I've kind of just left him alone.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm sure it'll happen at some point if he wants it to.
It's on. The gloves are off, Dimmy Gloom. I'm waiting.
I will. I know I've said before on Detour Head last night this wasn't going to be the case, but now it's changed again. I will be live with Demi Gloom tomorrow, so I'm sure I will bring it up at some point. We'll see what her public response is to her refusal to debate Brad the Bad.
You need to let me know, because you need to say, I want to debate her on free speech more than anything. All right? I know she doesn't agree with me on free speech. I know she doesn't agree with you on free speech. And there's no way she's beating me on the free speech.
There's kind of already like a plan there for me and her to talk about freedom of speech. So like maybe if she doesn't want to reuse the sort of... Because like I'm supposed to go on... She has her own political show called Middle School GSA. I don't know how familiar you are with it.
I was banned from it.
You're banned from it.
You should be able to say fucking...
I don't know. I don't know if you knew it anything other than Demi Gloom's Discord server. Like, I don't know if you'd heard the podcast at all. But regardless, there are plans in the works for me to go on an episode of Middle School GSA and for the topic to be freedom of speech. So maybe she's saving that sort of freedom of speech rhetoric for that. But we'll see what she says. We'll see how she feels about the situation.
You need to tell her that you need to have the conversation with Brad, because I'm telling you, I will do it I will be harder on her than you will be.
Well,
I will ask
I'm
her
not
the
trying to
tough
be
question.
harder. I'm really trying to have a civil discussion with her and her
I will
co-host.
have a civil discussion. But what I'm saying by harder is I will ask her why you as a trans person get to tell me why I can't say hateful things about trans people when literal Holocaust victims say that Nazis should be able to speak. So how do you get to tell me what I can and can't say on the internet, and you call me a bad person, you call me a transphobe, you call me a racist, and you call me a Nazi, when literal Jewish Holocaust survivors wanted Nazis to be able to march down the streets of Cincinnati? All right? Can you answer that question? And she cannot answer that question because there is no right answer to that question. The right answer is that you allow people to engage in and say hateful rhetoric because the pros outweighs the cons, and that you believe, in general, the whole American philosophy is you believe that if you give everyone all the information and you give everyone all the viewpoints, that they will do the right thing. Yes, not everyone will do the right thing, but the majority of the American people will do the right thing and will vote for it. And I know she'll probably say something about, well, people voted for Trump, blah, 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 blah. People didn't vote for Trump for the abolishment of all the LGBT things.
They
People
voted for Trump because of lay eggs. I know.
lay eggs. What are you
lay
talking
eggs.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is I think it's ridiculous that we have this rhetoric on the left, that everyone on the right and everyone who voted for Trump is this racist Nazi transphobe because they have issues that they care about more than your issues, right? Why does your issues take precedent over my issues? Bullshit. You need to quit being selfish, and you need to understand that the point of the United States is fucking. I'm trying to say concessions, but it's not concessions. It's a word for give and take. What does that mean?
Compromise?
Compromise, yeah.
Okay.
The United States is built on compromise, right? And so I understand that your rights to even exist and project the way yourself is something that you cannot compromise at all, and you shouldn't, right? You should never sit there and say, you know what, we'll give you cheap eggs, and I'll just keep the shit to myself, right? I'll keep my opinions to myself. No, that's bullshit. I agree with you on that, right? But to sit there and say, you know what, this is how I feel, and these are things that are important to me, all right? Your problems are nothing compared to my problems is bullshit. Completely and utter bullshit. And I don't think she can answer it. I think if we sat down and we had a civil discussion and we had a talk about this, she cannot morally defend her viewpoints. I feel like if you want to sit there and you want to say that trans people don't exist because I'm a Christian and I believe in this fucking stupid ass book, you should be able to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with these people going on the internet, and it's not hate speech. It's their opinion. All right? You don't have to engage with it. You don't have to talk with them. You know, at the end of the day, I believe my vision and my dream for the American people is that I can go on Twitter and I can say whatever the fuck I want on Twitter. All right? But and I can go on the internet and I can have a political discussion with you on the internet, right? But when I go to my job at Arby's, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk about it. All right? It's irrelevant. All that matters is that I put roast beef in between a bun and wrap it up and give it to a customer. All right? Yeah. There's no reason why I can't believe in God and you can't be trans and us, you know, me make the sandwich and hand it to you and you put it in a bag and hand it to a customer. There's no
Brad, listen, I didn't realize you were working at I forgot you were working at Arby's. We need to talk about your morals, Brad, because you can't be serving people those burgers, okay? If somebody orders a burger, you gotta be like, get something else, bro. Trust me.
The burgers when they first came out were Wagyu and they were good. And then now they're like, I don't know what they are, but they're not as good.
They're the dog shit. They're horse meat. That's what they are.
When they first came out and they were the Wagyu ones, I brought my own seasonings and I would like season the burger and I would make like an actual like proper good burger. And I was like, man, this is good. Because at McDonald's you get a burger, it's like super small and flat. These are like thick actual like burgers. So I was like, man, this is actually pretty fucking good. Right? Now it's just kind of mid. People ask me, and
all I know is I ate a burger, and one, it was mid as fuck, and it kind of tasted a little weird, and then I like threw up the next morning. So like, you can't be serving people those burgers. All right, folks. Thank you for listening to the Death Stream. We're done for the evening.
Bradley Badley on X. Come harass me on there, please.
All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. linktr.ee/Riley Cinematic Universe for all my stuff. And tune in tomorrow at noon, folks. Noon Eastern. YouTube.com/@DemiGloom. We're doing the Trans Fat Experience. We are back, folks. Finally. So I'm ready for that. And I will see you later.